10:30.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's doing some little sports podcast.
That's cool.
And it's like a live taping. The guy like rents a theater in Gaffney and brings in like 3 different sports figures and interviews them live.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then they're going to air eventually. I don't know when. But so he was like, "You don't have to come." I'm like, "I'm going. I'm not going to miss that. That's pretty cool. I want to see how they do it too. I'm just curious. I've never seen a live podcast like that."
But yourself, you could do a podcast at your
Oh,
house.
I could absolutely, yeah.
That's like the world.
Or at your house.
Oh my house.
Yeah, I don't even know why we made you come here. I could just show up at your place.
I'll have him come over just a little bit more, right there.
Do you need me to do anything?
I don't know what's happening with this.
You look fine. You look like you survived Survivor.
That's a rough day.
No, I don't mean it like that. I mean, like, you made it. You're here. You're here to tell the story.
I am.
How many interviews have you had to do?
That day we did it was like just 8 or 9.
And what was it with? Like
Entertainment Weekly, Parade. There was an interview with like the morning show in Australia.
Oh, wow.
Some channel or show in Quebec.
Oh, wow. How cool.
But most of the U.S. stuff, they've transferred to more of like the online stuff. They don't really do like CBS mornings. Like they used to do that kind of stuff where the people, as they were voted out, they were like on the
show.
Letterman. Remember they used to?
Yeah.
He would have them like come up and just do the top.
Yes?
You want me to get my pen? I'm not reporting, so I can put hands in pockets now, right?
Yeah, you can do whatever you
You
want.
told me one time before, you said don't ever put your hands in pockets.
I don't know that you want to, because then people go, "What's he doing with his hands in his pockets?" I'm just
Really?
saying,
Okay,
yeah.
so now I won't.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right, we'll do a 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. We have Dr. Cedrek McFadden back with us. You have survived Survivor. You are here to tell the story, and we are excited to hear what it was like to really be on the show. How different is it to sit on the couch and say, "Hey, I want to do that. I want to play Survivor," versus actually playing Survivor?
So it's a little bit of both. I think it's very much while you're on the show, you are seeing it from the perspective of somebody that was sitting at home. But the reality is now you're in the show, so it's all kinds of main. Let me step back.
Yeah. It's all kinds of. So talk a little bit. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
We've got Dr. Cedrek McFadden with us, our 7 News medical consultant, who happened to be on Survivor 48. And Dr. C, I know you had that candle or the flame snuffed out. What is it like in that moment when that happens?
Yeah. So when your torch is snuffed by Jeff, it is an outer body, surreal. I think I blacked out actually. I feel like in that moment, I saw myself going through this motion, but I did not comprehend that this is actually happening. Because you've seen it so much when you watch the show. You see over and over people getting, and now I'm standing in front of Jeff, he's like, the tribe has spoken, and he does that thing. I blacked out. It was also a moment that I had so much gratitude for the experience. And in that particular moment, you're thinking about just being grateful, being grateful to have the experience.
And then what happens? You go back to the hotel or whatever, and then begin this. You got voted onto the jury, so you're not gone.
No, I'm not gone yet. And so after I am taken from that particular tribal council, I'm immediately preparing for the next tribal council, but now as the role of a juror.
And what is that like?
So now that means, so as a juror member, you are now at tribal councils, you are listening to what's happening during those tribal councils. You're not only just listening, you're watching, you're looking at body language, you're basically interpreting, what people are saying. Is this true? What can you pick up from the dynamics? And you're also hearing about the moves that people are making, because that's going to be important, because at the end of the season, the jurors then determine who gets the $1 million. And so that, that helps us make the decision about what moves did you make, why did you make those moves, and it's something that can relate to me.
And you get kind of to be the mayor of Ponderosa, so to speak, when you're the first juror selected. So you get to kind of set the tone for this jury, right?
You set the tone. In years past, there have been different types of juries on Survivor. You've had the really bitter juror members where they don't want anybody to win and they're not going to vote anybody, and they kind of hold these vendettas. And that's certainly great entertainment, that's certainly great television, but there are also jury members that are a little bit more balanced and remember that this is a game, and we want to award the $1 million to the person that's played the best game, and also the person that can represent us as a cast. We have a phenomenal cast, and we want people that's going to represent us well as kind of being the winner of our season.
So exciting to see this play out. All right, let's talk a little bit about the people who are sitting home on the couch, just like you were, saying, I can do this, I can play Survivor, versus actually doing it. It's hard.
It is hard, but you should still try.
Okay.
You should still try, because there's still a gift in being in the space. There's still a gift in pushing yourself beyond what you think you're capable of doing. And even if you fail at trying, you tried, and there's a lesson in that in itself. So, it is hard. It is definitely hard, and it is the real deal.
I mean, I saw you at those walls, Cedrek McFadden.
So let's talk about the challenges, right? You certainly know that it's going to be a challenge, and you expect them to be tough. God, but they're really tough.
Yeah.
They're really tough. And for me and my activity, I'm a runner. So if you say, let's go run 5 or 10 miles, I'm there all day. But there's still some challenges that if you need the strength piece that I was lacking. And the reality of my experience was I've seen prior players in the past, like Sari or even Sandra, who were not great competitors from a challenge standpoint, but they had a fantastic social game. And so that's kind of how I patterned myself. It's like I knew I wouldn't be a great challenge participant, but I could pull out a pretty decent social game.
When you see a wall these days, does it trigger something inside of you?
There's a fondness, and I remember the feelings of being in there, but also what you don't see when you're watching the episode is the intense pride of just kind of trying and putting yourself in that space to even give it a shot.
And then once you get over the wall, after all that effort, it's got to feel amazing.
And let me just say, I got over both walls.
Yes, you did.
Whether you saw it or not, I got over both walls with a lot of help. And that's life, right? I mean, life, you encounter a wall and you get some help and you get over that wall.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little bit about some of the big moments, like the Tribal Council, and especially the historic Tribal Council. I mean, you made Survivor history.
Apparently I did, and that was not my goal. I didn't go on Survivor to make history, but there were several moments that I found myself in this, crucial position to make decisions that perhaps had not needed to be made in that manner in prior seasons. There was one particular tribal council, I think it was the 3rd episode, where it was a deadlock vote. It was actually deadlocked because of me, because of my pattern of voting and not wanting to vote out Justin. And so it led to a tie vote, a deadlock vote, and me making the decision, a unilateral decision, about who stayed in the game and who left. A lot of conversations happened about that particular vote. I hear the really the negative ones. I certainly hear the ones of support, It was a really tough situation to have to make a decision between two people that you really cared for, and you continue to care for up until this point. But what a moment. Absolutely what a
But
moment.
everyone kept saying, why do you keep supporting Say? They didn't get it.
They don't get it. And here's the reality is that they, what you're seeing as the audience, there are 19 different, so here's what you're seeing as the audience. There are 19 different perspectives. You're seeing that 19th perspective, that of the producer, that omniscient one who has all the information. And what you also are not seeing, however, they're not showing you the sort of the smooth parts of our relationship. They're showing you the edited bumps, the bumpy parts in my relationship with Say that absolutely can make you wonder, why is he keeping her around? But what you're not seeing are the conversations that are keeping me in the game. The fact is, if it were not for her, I would have gone home that first week, because as soon as we landed, she immediately came to me and said, the girls are talking about you. They want to write your name down.
Wow.
And it was that type of information that she brought to me that really helped me understand that there's a reason to keep her here.
Yeah.
She was absolutely annoying people. She was abrasive to people, but she's transparent. She's strong. She's strategic. She's all those things also, which are some of the reasons, as Shaheen and even Jeff Probst said, you want somebody like that playing with you in the game.
And then Justin, that had to be hard, right?
That was absolutely hard because he was one of the first persons that I connected with that I said, we're going to the end. I'm not writing your name down. Technically, I didn't write his name down, but I did have to vote him out at some point. But that's the game. That's what we came there to do.
All right. When you talk about the best and worst moments, what was the hardest thing for you?
So I think the hardest thing was, when you're trying to scale a wall and you can't scale a wall, not only are you thinking about how to scale that wall, you're also thinking about, this is on television. Wait, this is going to get replayed over and over again. And so the reality of what's going on through your mind, the million different conversations you're having when you're in the middle of a physical challenge like that, for me, the hardest parts were getting through those physical challenges.
What about anything that was easier than you thought it might be?
For me, going to tribal councils were easier than I thought they would be. Because when you're in a tribal council, it's the moment of truth. You're getting all the information. And once you get over that fear of, I'm headed to tribal council, I could get voted out tonight. I mean, the point that I got voted out, I'd been to like 6 or 7, I lost count at that point. And so I got, in some ways, kind of comfortable with walking in there. I knew how to function. I knew how to function in tribal council. So that was probably easier than I thought it would be after you get over the fear of you could go home. Now let's use this to my advantage to get a lot of information.
And in your final tribal council, did you feel it coming?
Oh, absolutely. I felt it coming. I felt me going home the minute we drew rocks when we did the split tribal. I was not delusional. I wanted to believe otherwise, but I really saw it coming based on the alliances that I had and them being on that other tribe at that point.
What are you the most proud of?
So I'm proud of the fact that I had the opportunity to do it and I did it. That there's a few people in this world, there's probably only a 750 plus or minus people that have ever had a chance to play this. Thousands, if not millions of people have applied over the 48 seasons. I'm one of them. I got a chance to do it. I got a chance to be in the space. And that's something that, regardless, can never be taken away from me.
What's the biggest life lesson?
So I think the biggest life lesson for me on Survivor is sometimes you just have to try. You just have to try. You don't know the outcome until you try. And even if you fail while trying, there's still important life lessons that will help you in another capacity in your life.
And how about, just for the future Survivor contestants, the biggest Survivor strategy lesson for you? Takeaway.
So the bigger Survivor strategy lesson for anybody who wants to play Survivor is listen more than you talk, do some push-ups, practice climbing up some walls before you get there, but really just go in, playing it, and Jeff says this all the time, playing it like it's the second time you've played it. So you'll be fearless and ready to attack anything that you can attack.
How does your family think of this whole experience? I mean, it's been a lot for you. It's been a lot for them too.
Yeah. So my family, they've enjoyed this experience. It's been, they've learned more about Survivor than they've ever learned before. And they've enjoyed watching this journey. They're still interested to see how the season ends and what role I have in how that season ends. But they've had a blast with this experience.
And you have too.
I've had more than a blast. I've been to the moon.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You're almost like Gail King. Almost. Congrats, Dr. C.
Thanks, Amy. Thank you.
I guess you didn't go to the moon, but you know what I mean.
You know what's funny?
Good job.
You've heard all these people talking about